Welcome to the first episode of the Transformative Teaching and Learning podcast. This show is dedicated to celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning, referred to as CITL. CITL provides comprehensive services supporting academic excellence and innovative teaching, learning, and digital education at NIU. In this episode, we'll discuss the evolution of CITL. I'm your host, Tracy Jones, Online Student Success Specialist. Today, we're joined by Dr. Jason Rhode, Associate Vice Provost for Teaching, Learning, and Digital Education, who will share his executive leadership insights regarding the evolution of CITL. We'll also hear from Tracy Miller, Director of Instructional Design and Development, and Anna Richardson, Director of the Office of Online Learning. Thank you all for joining us today. Your participation is essential to our conversation about the evolution of CITL and the future of supporting academic excellence and curriculum innovation at NIU. Today's first guest is Dr. Jason Rhode, a faculty developer, instructor, instructional designer, course developer, and program director. With over 2 decades of experience in online learning and higher education faculty development, Jason is the Associate Vice Provost for Teaching, Learning, and Digital Education. Jason strongly advocates for academic excellence and a student-centric and equity-minded approach in his work. He leads the Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning. He oversees university-wide digital learning, serving as the Chief Online Learning Officer and implementing processes to deliver high-quality digital learning. Jason, we are truly thankful for your leadership and the insights that you will share with us today. Thank you for taking the time to join us on this podcast. Today, we're speaking with you about your pivotal role as Associate Vice Provost for Teaching, Learning, and Digital Education in the Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning, referred to as CITL. We're celebrating CITL's 25th anniversary through the podcast. As we reflect on CITL's milestone anniversary, what has the leadership team learned over the past 25 years?
Well, it's great to be here, and thank you so much for that question. You know, as I reflect on our anniversary and what we've learned over these past many years, I'd say we've learned a lot. But the first thing that stands out to me is the importance of being nimble and agile in our approach to serving faculty and our campus community more broadly. When our center was founded, we were a comprehensive faculty development unit with a broad scope of services to support all aspects of faculty development. Over the years, as our university has evolved and the various supports across our campus for faculty evolved, so too has our mission and our scope of services, as well as our activities to serve our campus. For example, when the Teaching Assistant Training and Development Office in the graduate school was closed, those responsibilities were transferred to the center. In 2020, our center's name changed to the Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning, abbreviated as CITL, to more clearly reflect our mission and services focused on supporting effective and innovative teaching in pursuit of transformative learning experiences. And most recently, in 2023, the university established the Office of Online Learning and housed it within the center to support the success and online student experience of NIU's adult online students, from initial inquiry through the application and admittance process all the way to graduation. Our center has truly been at the core of the university's academic innovation, and we're excited to continue to support and partner with others from across the university to advance our institutional goals.
Thank you, Jason. We too are excited about your forward-thinking, transformative, and comprehensive approach to advancing innovative teaching and learning to NIU's campus community and the adult online learning population. Your leadership has been instrumental in shaping the future of CITL. This leads me to my final question. As a higher education leader with over 2 decades of experience, how have your experiences impacted your role as Associate Vice Provost for Teaching, Learning, and Digital Education?
This being my 20th year at NIU and in working within our center, my roles and responsibilities have evolved over the years as our institution has evolved. I've really enjoyed all the opportunities I've personally had over the years to roll up my sleeves and serve wherever needed. As a center, we've always embraced any opportunities to partner with others to advance faculty development, teaching and learning, as well as most recently, online learning efforts at the institution. As we move ahead, we continue to look for any ways in which we can partner in new ways to advance our institutional mission, vision, and values. and support the great work of our faculty, teaching assistants, and staff across the institution who are engaged in our teaching mission. None of what we've been able to accomplish over these past 25 years would have been possible without, first, all of the continued support from the Office of the Provost, as well as our Innovative Teaching and Learning Advisory Committee, as well as our collaborations with academic and support units from across the campus. Also, I just want to say a huge thank you to the amazing team that we have, as well as all those staff members over the years who have contributed to our success as a center. I truly believe that our best and brightest days are still ahead.
Thank you for sharing your overview of CITL's evolution. The listeners have learned more about the historical background, the transformative learning experiences at the Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning, the organizational development of the Office of Online Learning, and your forward-thinking and innovative strategies for the adult online learning community. Also, the interdepartmental collaboration, including the Office of the Provost, administrators, faculty, and staff, speaks to NIU's mission, vision, and values. Your sharing of your insights, experiences, and invaluable contributions is greatly appreciated. Once again, thank you for your contribution. Tracy is a distinguished professional with an MS.Ed e-learning from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign and a BS in Environmental Studies from the Union Institute and University. Her current Director of Instructional Design and Development role at NIU's Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning is a testament to her experience. Welcome to the podcast, Tracy. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I've been at CITL for over 10 years. I started as the online teaching coordinator and over time moved into my current position. Before coming to NIU, I worked at the Illinois Mathematics and Science Academy, or EMSA, as their program director for statewide student initiatives. It was then that I grew to appreciate innovative education and online teaching and learning. While at EMSA, I led a team of 3 full-time staff and about 40 seasonal staff. I was also on their strategic planning team and led the efforts to scale STEM education to underserved areas in the state of Illinois. My background is not necessarily in instructional design per se. I leave the instructional design work up to my team. Besides team building, my experience is in strategic thinking and scaling educational efforts. I lead an amazing team of people talented in instructional design, course development, and online teaching. It is my job to help them to be successful and to fulfill our mission to support transformative learning experiences. The Institute of Emerging Leadership in Online Learning, or IELOL as we call it, was an intense experience. The Online Learning Consortium hosts the Institute every year for, emerging leaders. I was able to connect with so many other individuals interested in the same things that I was interested in. I learned a lot about areas of online learning that I really wasn't connected to, like branding and marketing an online program. I recommend that anyone interested in leadership in online learning really should check it out.
Thank you, Tracy. It's great that you're endorsing professional development opportunities. Your team is fortunate to have someone of your caliber with the many varied experiences, helping them navigate instructional design and development. These experiences lead me to my next question. Instructional design is an invaluable resource in higher education. How has instructional design evolved over the years from a leadership perspective?
It wasn't so long ago that the role of instructional designer was unknown to many in higher education. We sometimes reflect on how many of us started in one area and instructional design found us or we found it. As you mentioned, instructional design is now a valued profession. I'm lucky to work with some great individuals on a daily basis. In the late 1990s, the university had the amazing forethought to name our center the Faculty Development and Instructional Design Center. This was during the early stages of using digital technology to enhance learning. NIU has had the great fortune of having instructional designers for over 25 years. As online education has evolved at NIU, So has instructional design. Online education or distance education was considered outside traditional face-to-face courses, and therefore the instructional design work was managed like a course run through one of our regional centers. In those early days, the instructional design team was called e-learning services. In 2018, the center came together with the 4-credit instructional design team from e-learning services, and we were able to build our capacity and increase our services to online programs. Our instructional designers continue to work with departments and colleges to design, develop, and deliver 4-credit courses and other learning environments that support the students' learning goals. Instructional designers need to be very good with using educational technology, and as we know, technology changes all the time. A great instructional designer must evolve with the technology. More importantly, they should be able to apply research-based course design and learning principles to the course. We call the faculty teaching the courses our subject matter experts. They know their subject, and we can help them with the structure and navigation of the course. Instructional designers have been known as chameleons because they adapt to their environment. We work with all kinds of faculty, and one of a designer's favorite things to do is to solve a teaching challenge with a faculty member. I think another area that's really evolved is accessibility. We help closed captioning, adding alt text to images, and formatting content so that it works well with assistive technology like a screen reader. We have really stepped up our game in creating accessible content. From my leadership perspective, instructional designers need to be very flexible and should always be willing to try new things.
Thank you for providing a historical overview of instructional designers. This conversation sought to understand what has been learned from and about instructional designers in CITL over the past 25 years. The roles and responsibilities of instructional designers were well described, as were their experiences working with faculty at NIU. This brings me to my final question. As we celebrate CITL's 25th anniversary, we cannot overlook the significant impact of the pandemic on the landscape of instructional design and development. We are eager to hear your reflections on how this unprecedented time has shaped and influenced the field of instructional design.
CITL had already been developing online programs well before the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we were still known as the Faculty Development and Instructional Design Center, and the instructional design team was primarily designing and developing online courses for our high enrollment online programs. We were always very busy, and during the pandemic, everyone really just jumped in and did an amazing job of preparing faculty for emergency remote teaching and using technology that many at the time were unfamiliar with. The team is now back to creating new online programs and partnering with faculty to develop more online courses. A major difference is that the faculty are now less skeptical of online teaching. They are more willing to take the risk and learn how to develop a quality online course and teach it in ways that are engaging for students and helps them to meet their educational goals. I'd say another change since the pandemic is the focus on creating inclusive online courses. Faculty seem much more open to inclusive teaching practices, and they appreciate the help we can provide to give their students the best shot at success. Most recently, we have been challenging ourselves to course design practices for adult learners returning to college. The traditional age student population is declining, so it's important to address the needs of adult students. And I think many of them have made changes in their life decisions after the pandemic.
Tracy, thank you so much for sharing your professional insights. Once again, I truly appreciate the time and effort you put into this conversation. I can personally attest to the value-added experience of the adult online learning environment. And yes, I agree that accessibility and inclusiveness are critical indicators of online student success.
You're welcome. I take great pride in telling folks about the work that the instructional team does and how amazing they are. Thank you for letting me reflect on the changes that have been happening for the 25 years of instructional design support at NAU.
Today's next guest is Anna Richardson, the Director of the Office of Online Learning. She primarily supports adult online learners at NIU, from the initial inquiry to graduation. She leads a dedicated team of successful online student support staff, ensuring a seamless learning experience for online students. Thank you for taking the time to join us on this podcast. We are here to celebrate CITL's 25th anniversary, a quarter-century milestone of CITL's commitment to promoting teaching, learning, and digital education. As we reflect on CITL's journey in the online learning and support through the years, how did the leadership team initiate the steps to digitalize the Office of Online Learning?
Yeah, absolutely. So as the newest addition to the CITL leadership team, I have to say that it's amazing to work in a unit that has such a rich history of supporting the university. As for the Office of Online Learning, we really came to be for a variety of reasons. One of those is that the institution was previously working with an external partner that provided some of the online student support pieces for a handful of our programs. So the decision was made to sunset that partnership and build out this kind of support internally, using the knowledge that we gained through that experience. But I think even more importantly, first and foremost is simply that there was a significant need to have the ability to support this population in a centralized way that is always high touch, always proactive, and always dedicated to removing barriers to facilitate student success. You also used the word digitize. So I think it's important to note that our Office of Online Learning team is 100% remote. So we built a brand new office from the ground up in a fully virtual format. And I think there are so many parallels that can be drawn between our online remote students and our remote online learning team. It's easy to feel disconnected and isolated, and you have to approach this in a different way and put forth a different kind of effort to stay connected and collaborative. Responsiveness matters, and intentionally creating space for people to be people. That's how our team operates and how we, in turn, operate with the online students that we serve.
Thank you for sharing your insights about the Office of Online Learning's emergence. I agree that creating digitalized content for adult online learning communities and building a sense of online academic support services is critical to student success. This leads me to my next question. Online student support from enrollment to academic and student services is critical for student success. From your leadership perspective, what are the perceptions of online graduate students regarding their access to online support services?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So perceptions of online graduate students regarding their access to online support services. I think that there is often a misconception that online students in general, but especially online graduate students, don't need the same level of support that an on-campus student might. And I really, actually think that the opposite is true. Fully online students often choose to take their courses remotely because they work full-time, right? They have caregiving responsibilities. They don't live near campus. I mean, the reasons go on and on. But the reality is that it's incredibly easy for this population to feel disconnected because it's not just about being a student for them, right? It's about being a student on top of everything else that they are and that they have going on. So first and foremost, they need a point person at their institution to help them stay engaged, and encouraged and motivated. Beyond that, I think it's relatively common for online students to assume that they don't have access to the same resources that on-campus students do, or that they have to physically go to campus to use those resources. And at NIU, neither of those things are true. Our online students have access to these support services in an entirely virtual format.
Indeed, collaboration between points of contact is critical. As you mentioned, this ensures students receive a student-centered learning environment at every step of the student's life cycle. You've also highlighted several significant designs used to facilitate support for adult online learners, including inclusiveness, quality engagement with support staff, and ensuring a school work-life balance. This brings me to my next question. What are the measures used to evaluate the effectiveness of adult online learners?
Absolutely. So over the last several months, the online learning team, in collaboration with other unit leaders and the Online Learning Advisory Council at NIU, has been working on completing a comprehensive review of the student support and services currently offered at NIU for our online student population. So currently, we are working on synthesizing this feedback to make some larger recommendations on what some priorities are and what some next steps should be to incorporate some of the great feedback that we received through this process. CITL also just recently launched a comprehensive new online student orientation in Blackboard, which is really exciting. So the fall 2024 semester is the first time that a resource like this has been broadly offered to any new online student at the university. And then the last thing I'll mention is that a big priority for the Office of Online Learning right now is continuing to increase the number of events that we offer our prospective and new online students. So, events like programmatic info sessions, admitted student next steps webinars, course demos, application workshops, virtual open houses, and so on. So we're looking forward to continuing to get these things up and running, really to provide some more opportunities for our online students to connect with the university.
Thank you for sharing your insights regarding the development of the Office of Online Learning, matrix, practices of student success, and the launch of the new student orientation. Your forward-thinking approach to online student success is commendable. Our listeners have learned a lot from you today. We are excited to see what you'll do next in your approach to the adult online learning community. Thank you again for participating in today's podcast.
Thank you, CITL leadership team, for actively participating in the Transformative Teaching and Learning podcast and commemorating the significant milestone of CITL's 25th anniversary. Your leadership participation was vital to our listeners who received an historical overview of CITL's evolution, the importance of instructional designers, and the emergence of the Office of Online Learning. Your insights were influential and the driving force behind the direction of this podcast. To our listeners, before you go, we would love to hear your feedback for future episodes. Please like and leave a comment using the link below. Also, to stay updated on upcoming episodes, follow us on Facebook, X, and LinkedIn, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. We look forward to bringing you more transformative content. Thank you for listening.